Again, my name is Aida. I am thematic lead for learning and knowledge ecosystems here at the CF, and I'm really happy to have so many colleagues, safe colleagues here. As I said before we started the recording, there are colleagues who are our associate fellows. Here are our safe coordinators, participants of several of our events that were dedicated to the topic of knowledge management and how public institutions can become learning organizations, also from the events for knowledge sharing and to be better with our presentation skills. Before I give, I have to first click the share button. So please unmute yourself. May I ask somebody has the... Okay. Please give me the signal if you can see my presentation. Do you see it?
No.
Not yet.
Yes.
Now we do.
The right screen?
Yeah,
absolutely.
It is in presentation.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, this week we are celebrating knowledge management. So SAFE is part of this global initiative that is taking place in several countries actually this year for the first time. And I'm really glad that today with us we have also the initiator, the idea creator, the inspiration that this is really like a global festival. Today we will actually have a chance to listen to three very interesting and different presentations. One, I will not read the titles because later on we will go into each one of them. But really at the end of each, I will give like a few minutes for your questions. But in the meantime, please use the chat function. Introduce yourself, where are you calling from? And then when the presentations are taking place, please ask questions because this will also like create a separate, let's say, but integrated part for our knowledge sharing, sharing of our views, understanding, questions. And at the end, of course, I hope we have enough time for some discussion. But yeah, before we dig into our topics, I'm really, really honored that Moria Levy is here with us. Moria, as you can read on the slide, is the chairman of the Israeli Knowledge Management Forum. She serves as the head of the ICO Global Experts Committee for Knowledge Management. She is a known cited researcher in the knowledge management discipline and has really over 30 years of experience in this field. One of her latest books is A Holistic Approach to Lessons Learned, How Organizations Can Benefit from Their Own Knowledge. And as I said, she's the really initiator, and I can say my inspiration for knowledge management. I took part in several of the initiatives where Moria is the leading, one of the leading experts, and I am every time very, very inspired. And here I give the word to you, Moria, because, yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Ada, for inviting me to join you. Yes, how did it all start? In one word, chocolate. You may ask why chocolate? It all started last year because I saw that there's a chocolate day. And I asked myself, okay, there's a day for the blind people. There's a week for those that to be safe on the roads, but why having a chocolate day? And then I said, okay, if people that like chocolate can have a chocolate day, we also, with knowledge management, deserve not only a day, rather a week. So KMG and the KM Global Network, where I'm one of the leaders, we decided to turn it into a tradition. And this year, it's the first time we are running this KM Global Week, which is really a festival of activities and events all over the world. We started with 13 countries that are hosting, but we have much more because even here, if we listed Slovenia, we have also Turkey and we have Armenia. So it's really a great festival with all kinds of types of activities. But what's important is, what are we aiming at? We're not only like Woodstock coming to enjoy together. We have a very important mission. If we think about it, and here the leading word would be water. If I started with chocolate, so I'm now moving to water. If I think about knowledge management and how it's treated, they treat it like a flood, so small. However, if we think about it and we understand what it is, we know that it should be a very large sea or even an ocean. And that's what we aim to do. This week is intended to help us draw awareness and desire to better share, retain, develop, and manage in other ways the knowledge of organizations, the knowledge of students, the knowledge of society, because we really believe that prosperity of the world is also based on the knowledge and the sharing of the knowledge and the development of the knowledge. So that's our mission, and that's what this week is intended to do. So I just want to wish you happy KM week. Enjoy yourself. This year, 12 or 13 or 15 countries. Next year, maybe even 30. Have a great event and good day.
Thank you, Moria. Yeah, we can maybe do an applause, maybe use the emojis. We don't have like sound for everybody, but thank you, Moria. And really wishing you good luck and that the situation resolves as soon as possible.
Thank you for your support, and bye meantime.
Thank you. And yeah, now we go to the first presentation. I hope you are using the chat in between. So hi, Alexandru, Robert, Ace, thank you for starting the conversation in the chat. I will introduce our first colleague, Simon Zollner. Simon is PhD, a researcher and assistant professor at the School of Economics and Business at the University of Ljubljana. He teaches organization and management, learning and knowledge management, and advanced management. He graduated and received his master's and PhD degree in business from the School of Economics and Business University of Ljubljana, and his main research interests are knowledge management, social work, and public administration. His other research interests include age management, long-term care, and leadership. And actually, one of these topics will be also the topic of today's presentation. I can say that Simon was one of our lead experts in March, TOT on knowledge management and presentations and knowledge sharing. And that's why I'm even more grateful that our collaboration is continuing. And here, Simon, I give the word to you.
Thank you, Aida, for a wonderful introduction. I'll try to share my screen because I'm not that familiar with Microsoft Teams. I hope it will work. Okay. Let me just find it. Okay. It should be working now. Can you see my screen?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Sorry for a bit of some technical issues. As mentioned, I'm not a lot of the time on Microsoft Teams, but in any case, I am really honored and happy to be with you because obviously my PhD was a lot connected to knowledge management. And then when I finished in 2020, I was a bit lost because I didn't really know how can I apply this knowledge that I gained during my PhD and after in practice. And then I think that through my colleague, we met Aida and Vincent and all of the other colleagues in the group, such wonderful people. And now I really think that we found a perfect place where we can continue with the majority of our knowledge management efforts. As mentioned, I'm from the School of Economics and Business. This work was in a way also prepared together with my longtime mentor, Professor Vlado Dimowski. Now he is more or less my colleague, but still in a way I view him as a mentor. And also, if you think from the perspective of knowledge management, I gain a lot of knowledge from my professor, and hopefully from the perspective of reverse mentoring, he was also able to gain some knowledge from me during the years that we are successfully working together. As mentioned, we are working a lot also on the topic of age management, and with every project, with every activity that we do, I always try to connect it in some way or another with knowledge management. So when I talked to Ida, we thought that this was a perfect opportunity that I can present today, the interplay between knowledge management and the aging workforce, which I will try to do my best in the next 15 minutes, because I know we are in a very limited time frame. So if I put this topic of aging somehow in a perspective, I would mention, first of all, the green paper on aging, where we can talk about challenges, opportunities throughout the life cycle of an individual. And here the first concept that we can talk about is lifelong learning, which is also about acquiring knowledge, of course. And if we start from a young person or a young adult, it doesn't mean that we have to stop learning during our later years in life. And I think that this is very important also for organizations, because typically we would imagine that they only invest in younger individuals that are maybe at the beginning of their career. But actually, I think that because of the knowledge that also older employees have, it's very much important that they enable them the best environment and training opportunities also later in the stages of their career. Why is this also maybe important? You know, as the population in developed countries, where Slovenia is no exception to that, is very much aging, and I think that aging is a trend that will only continue unless we find some sort of exceptional solution. I wouldn't imagine that we are going to be able to stop aging. And this means that in a way, we will have to also work longer, you know, because typically today we have a phase in life, or when you reach a certain age, that you're able to retire. But at the same time, I think that due to the aging, we will have to work longer. And here, the role of knowledge is very much integral, especially in terms of how we can improve or at least maintain the productivity of individuals. If we talk about innovation, and also we can apply knowledge to perhaps create many business opportunities that are related to the concept of silver economy. Here, of course, if we think about retirement, this is maybe not that much related to this presentation, or is maybe beyond the scope of this presentation. But if we think from the perspective of organizations, of course, intergenerational relations are very much important. Now, when people will have to work longer, it can happen that we will have 4 or even maybe 5 different generations in an organization, in a company. And of course, it's hard, it's complex, and you have to find appropriate solutions how to transfer knowledge from one generation to another. Later on, I will also discuss some of the issues, challenges that are related to this. And as I mentioned, probably from the example of me and my professor, you can see how if everything is working appropriate, you can actually gain knowledge from your older colleagues, and also they can gain knowledge from their younger colleagues. So, of course, the other perspective that I'm also covering is healthcare, long-term care. But today, the focus is more on the interplay between knowledge management and age management, so I will skip that. Why is this important? As I mentioned, lifelong learning. I think that this also can have a connection to healthy and active aging, so that we enable older individuals that are maybe still employed, that they are able to get new skills, that it boosts their job opportunities, and it also helps them stay active in life, in that later stages of life, which I think is a significant benefit. And I really do believe that older people, or people that are maybe in the later stages of their career, they can still be very much active and valuable contribution to society and the economy, and of course also to their organization where they are working in. Here, if you can see from the picture, the old age dependency ratio, this is projected to very much increase from now to 2070, which is kind of the measured year. And you can see that there will be fewer. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. We just see the first slide, as at least I see just the first slide.
Okay. Any suggestions? What can I do?
Yeah, now we see green paper.
Okay.
Yeah. And now,
perhaps when you choose what to share, to choose the full screen presentation.
Okay. Can you now see the third slide, or is it still the first one?
The third, the green paper on aging.
Oh, okay. So now it moved to the picture.
But you have to stop share and reinitiate the sharing.
Okay. I will try to do my best. Okay.
Thank you, Alexandru. Alexandru is our colleague from National Bank of Moldova, and he introduced himself already also at the beginning. Thank you, Alexandru.
Can you now see?
We see the graph now.
Okay. If I move to the next one, do you see the picture?
Not yet. We see the green paper on aging.
Okay, so maybe I can try like this, and I hope you can see it, and I can share the presentation later if that's maybe a solution.
If you just go to next slide manually.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So as I was mentioning, that there will be fewer than 2 persons in the working age for each person that's age 65 and over. This also means that probably we will have to work for a longer period of time, and also in this way find some solutions that are related to knowledge management in organizations, which I will talk more about in the near future. So actually this presentation is very much based on the book that we wrote last year. It's called Towards an Integrated Theory of Aging, and there is one specific chapter that is devoted or is describing knowledge management in times of an aging population. And here is the content that is based the presentation of today on. So I will move on and talk about that. So if we talk about knowledge, we often say that this is one of our most important strategic resources of a company. And for about almost 60 years now, we can talk about the distinction between tacit and explicit knowledge. And if we think ourselves in a perspective of a company, typically tacit organizational knowledge is a source of long-term competitive advantage. So this also means that when we are talking about knowledge transfer, about creating new knowledge, we are probably more focused on the tacit knowledge of employees. And if we connect this to the aging of the population, aging of the workforce, again, when people are nearing retirement, then it becomes very much important how we will be able to transfer their tacit knowledge to their younger colleagues, or maybe even find a way that we are able to transform or just write their tacit knowledge in some sort of an explicit form, maybe in a way of a guideline, of a manual, depending, of course, on the content of their work. And I think that when we talk about the interplay between knowledge management and the aging workforce, the probably more important part is related to tacit knowledge. If we talk about knowledge management as a process, typically we have in mind the 4 phases: knowledge creation, knowledge storage that we can describe as some sort of a database, knowledge transfer, and implementation. And of course, when we talk about implementation, it's not that this is the most important phase, but when we apply knowledge in practice, then it is the situation or the moment that it actually gains a lot of added value. And if we are describing a situation where we have a lot of people that are maybe near their retirement or thinking about changing their profession, changing their job, Then this, of course, we can also talk about knowledge loss, which is very much relevant for organizations. And here, I don't think that there is a specific distinction between private and public sector, because obviously knowledge loss is very much important for every organization. And I think that they should have a strategy, formal or informal, on how they will tackle this issue of knowledge loss in their organization, especially in a way how they will enable knowledge transfer between different generations of employees. So here, I already talked about mentoring programs. There are also other initiatives about intergenerational knowledge exchange or collaboration. For me, I'm not quite yet sure if this should be formal or informal. I think that probably, from my past experience, it would be better if individual employees would engage in such activities voluntarily, because I think then they show a genuine purpose, a genuine will to share their knowledge, to learn something. And this is a lot covered by my colleague Sasha, who is today unfortunately not present. She's an expert when it comes to informal communities of practice, which are also an activity that is very much related to knowledge management. And here we are trying to really promote, enhance activities in the organizations so that individuals are willing to share their know-how, experiences, and basically maybe even utilize the method of storytelling, because then people tend to remember more of the knowledge from their other colleagues. A specific issue of why is this important is because often when younger people are in decision-making roles, maybe they are not well prepared yet. They lack the knowledge to make proper decisions, and of course, this can hinder their organization as a whole. And when older employees are exiting the workforce, a lot of organizations still do not have appropriate mechanisms for them to actually transfer the knowledge from older employees to the ones that will still remain in their organization. From my previous experience or research into the topic of age management, a lot of organizations have the possibility to replace older employees with younger employees in terms of the number of employees, but they are actually not able to replace the knowledge of older employees. So in a sufficient way that the organization doesn't encounter with a specific situation of a knowledge loss. Sometimes it can also happen that, generational differences, someone in their 20s in comparison to someone in their 60s, in a way it can be hard how they can work together, how they can exchange knowledge, and some negative perceptions that maybe people in the beginning of their career are too ambitious, that they're only trying to promote themselves as soon as possible, and that people at the end of their career are maybe really just waiting for them to go in retirement. And also from previous experience, I would say that organizations are very much more reactive than being proactive in this measure. And I think that this is something that can hopefully change in the near future. So I would say that here we can talk about the awareness of appropriate age management practices, because this has
Tako da, evo, dobar primjer, možda umeđu vremenu dođe do nekog
because this can have an influence, of course, on the motivation and the actual knowledge transfer that occurs in practice. And I think that if we talk about age-inclusive practices, this also has to take into account the knowledge management aspect by providing equal opportunities for employees of different age groups. And this especially applies for recruitment policies, so that people will also be able to find a job in the later stages of their career, that they have a career path or a plan of their development in their later stages, and that they actually can have training opportunities regardless of their age. And of course, also we can talk about an age-friendly environment here. Maybe we can talk about the knowledge on how to appropriately design the structure of offices, or also in a way how we can promote, I don't know, working flexibility and so on. Because, older workers, they often can feel that they have a lot to offer, but they can really also feel cognitively and actually physically old when they think that their knowledge is obsolete. So I think that a really important issue is how to transfer knowledge from older workers nearing their retirement to the younger colleagues, and at the same time, how to keep them motivated. Why is this important? So in a way, summarized as the benefits of knowledge of older workers, there can be some savings that are related to hiring. The onboarding process is, of course, a very difficult one, and it's also, in a way, time-consuming. But I think that even more important is that they are able to keep the knowledge in the organization, and in a way, also preventing knowledge loss when someone is retiring. And also this, of course, then influences the retirement turnover. And if we think from the perspective of older employees, they have the ability to have more financial stability later on in life. And the organization basically has to ensure that they apply appropriate activities for knowledge transfer between different generations. Here, I would only add that, of course, that our book was maybe geared towards manufacturing workers. And here, I think that the type of organization is, of course, very much important variable when we talk about this, because obviously we have a very labor-intensive job versus an office job, then also the initiatives related to knowledge management and age management will be significantly different. So my last slide, I'll try to finish in a minute. What is evident from theory also and from practice is that we have a lack of practical examples when it comes to knowledge transfer. I'm pretty sure that you're all aware that the tacit knowledge component is a bit more complex. So this also means that it is hard to capture and transfer tacit knowledge. And one suggestion for organizations is that they have an overview of skills, knowledge, and competences of older employees that are near retirement, because this gives them an insight of what actually their older employees know. And also it is a good sign, so to say, what is the potential knowledge loss if older employees will leave their organization in the near future. So this was it. If you have any questions, I'm leaving the floor to Ida to moderate the discussion. Otherwise, here are our email addresses, and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions that we receive. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. And yeah, we have here also the comment from Robert with also a question. He wrote, Simon greatly presented the link between knowledge management, aging, and mentoring. So Robert is curious to learn more about mentorship programs in the public sector as a whole or specific institution in Southeast Europe. Does any one of you know some good practical examples? Maybe Simon, you first, and then maybe colleagues come with suggestions or ideas.
Yes, thank you very much for the interesting question. We actually had a project that was related to one of our ministries where we promoted the concept of informal communities of practice. And I think that this would be a good starting point for mentorship programs also in such organizations. But according to my knowledge at the moment, this is really, I would say, very much present in practice at the moment, but I think that in the future, this is one potential solution that could be very much useful for organizations.
And here I will invite also some other colleagues. Do you have experience with mentorship? Do you have like mentors? Anna, please. Anna, you have to unmute yourself. We don't hear you. Okay, let Anna. So you have to unmute yourself. Can you try now? No, at the moment we cannot hear you. Maybe in between until Anna resolves the situation. What are your experiences? Do you have like mentors at your working place? It doesn't have. Yeah, Tilan, please.
Maybe one example from the Slovene public sector, which is not anymore there, but it was great, at least in my experience. So in the public sector, where usually there is an issue, is that we have quotas, right? So you would have, let's say, a department. That department would have 10 quotas for 10 people, and they will have 10 people, right? And now also with the trends, well, people are becoming, we are all becoming older, right? And at a certain point, it could happen that maybe 2 or 3 or even 4 people will retire in very short time. And at some point, when we were a bit smarter, I would say, in our public sector, we had the possibility to have kind of dual quotas. What would that mean? You would have one workplace, but you would allow that another person would come in, work together for maybe 6 months, 1 year. They will transfer the knowledge. And what does that mean? The same job would be done by 2 people. Of course, somebody will think, why do you need 2 people for something that can be done by 1? But of course, mentorship takes time. Learning takes time. And I think this dual approach, where you would have these transitory quotas, that you would a proportion there. So in order to have this smooth transition are very important, especially when you have some areas which are integral, so like strategic. If you would be working on, I don't know, pension reform or pension system, if you would be working on tax system, if you would be working on any, in any area which needs big or let's say large expertise, also knowing who are all your partners, who you will be working with, who are your, let's say, stakeholders, and so on. This transition should take at least, let's say, 6 months, 1 year or more. And this is one experience which I think in Slovenia was good. That was when this happened, that somebody would go, who was a key employee, you would have for 6 months or 1 year, 2 people in that position. So the transition would run as smooth as possible. Thank you.
Many thanks, Dylan.
Hello?
Very good observation. Yeah, we hear you now.
So, hello, greetings everybody. I'm sorry for the
Leandro.
camera. We have with regard to mentorship programs, part of mentorship program, which basically motivates all excellent students, so those with basically or mostly all A's, to enter the public premises, and in each case, each and every one of them is assigned to a certain mentor. And apart from that, this is meant to be a 1-year experience in the public institution, in public administration of Albania, at least. And this is a large, widely used experience and involves all sectors, which provides mentorship sort of one-on-one with each, let's say, excellent or student or a new sort of new entry in the system. Apart from that, there is also a new project, some new project or a project, I believe it's called Young Cells, which basically gives mentorship or some sort of exchange of experiences with EU institutions, especially related to the EU integration process, as Albania now is quite involved in that, which is focused on, I mean, proper mentorship in kind of tailor-made areas, which basically the public administration from Albania will enter the public carry out all usual work and do all the practical things. Hello?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
There are some technical issues with your internet, I think. But we got your message,
I'm sorry.
I think. Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, we hear you now.
Yes. Okay, so as I was saying, to my knowledge, there is one public mentorship program in Albania, which enable excellent students to enter the public administration for 1 year. and another international project for mentorship, which enables public administration themselves to go abroad or to go to EU countries in tailor-made positions to basically get involved in all the activities that they would do if they were in those countries, or if if and when Albania will enter the EU.
Thank you, Leandro. Thank you.
Thank you.
In between, Svetlana asked you, Tilen and Leandro, for some documents, sharing of experience also later on. So yeah, if you allow, I
okay,
can also exchange the emails in between you.
Yes. Please do. Thank you.
And we have one question, and then we continue with presentation from Beyhan. Thank you for great share, Simon. I'd like to ask, when talking about knowledge transfer, are we including wisdom transfer as well?
Well, thank you. I already answered it in the chat just to make sure, but I think that maybe when we start talking about this concept idea, it's enough if we talk about data, information, and then knowledge. And then if possible, in later stages, we can also include wisdom. And then the fifth concept that comes with knowledge management is the only truth, which is even more complex. And I think that it's maybe possible to stop with wisdom, but at the beginning to start with data, information, and knowledge, and focus on knowledge.
Thank you, Simon, and thank you, Robert, for your notes. So let's read for so good capturing of knowledge. And here, Anna, did you manage to resolve the sound issues? We don't hear you.
Now, do you hear me?
Now we hear you well.
Great, and great. Thank you so much.
And I would just like before. Yeah, just before I give you let me just a short intro. So to all guests today. So Anahid Gasparian, she is human resource professional with 30 years of experience from Armenia, Central Bank of Armenia. She actually joined our team on knowledge management and presentation skills in March. And she was really, she showed her passion for the knowledge management and learning organizations. And let's now hear, Anahit, what are you doing actually in Central Bank of Armenia?
Yes. First of all, I would like to, first and foremost, I would like to thank you for invitation, and also to thank you all the experts I have met in March, professionals, because with the help of their knowledge, I drove deeper and deeper into knowledge management and started to put into practice my knowledge for the benefit of the Central Bank of Armenia. Now I would like to share my presentation. Hope it will be successful, and hope you can see it now. Is it okay with my presentation?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. So before diving into talking about the culture of learning, I took a little step into the organizational culture, how we work, how we think, how we do the things, because learning doesn't happen in a vacuum. So we need sometimes really to take both a step back, a step into the process of culture, and then come to learning culture. So first of all, I started mapping our organizational culture, as learning is a part of our organizational culture, and it has a big impact on influence how people learn, how they perform, and so on. And yes, organizational culture is the key in everything we do. Going to a step further, I started the process of mapping organizational learning culture, which was a long process. And a learning culture, yes, is one that values and encourages learning everywhere in the company, and that all the people take responsibility for learning. And for building a culture of learning, we need growth mindset that encourages learning from failure, structures when there is a need of explicit guides, formal processes, structures in place that facilitate the learning processes. And we also need a supportive environment that everyone in the company is involved in the process. And for learning, we are rewarded and appreciated. Going further with this, first steps that I have done in mapping our learning organization, I thought about what business units and teams exist, what leadership and management forums exist, and what is the makeup of the staff population. And here I started for building on the foundation. We tried to get a better sense of what is happening. And this is what I call gauging the learning maturity of our organization. And I start the process. And as far as there are 4 levels of maturity in learning organizations, I have included on these three levels. First one is the ad hoc learning maturity, that everywhere happens some learning. But then there are 3 important maturity levels. Structured learning, where more training options are available, delivery of training starts to be more coordinated and repeatable. Then there is strategic learning. Learning is aligned to business needs. Managers invest time and effort in supporting learning. And there is embedded learning, where technology is used to support a culture of learning and everyone is empowered. I started the process, and the CBS learning maturity has been measured across a total of 13 dimensions that are reflected in 3 categories. And the 3 categories are learning strategy, integration with business strategy leadership, LD management, analysis of the LD processes that are in place, and as well as learning interventions, activities, processes, and tools that support the acquisition of learning. I came across with a great surprise that in our organization, because before I thought that our learning may be in the level of embedded learning culture or more strategic learning culture, but after mapping, I have found out that our learning maturity is structured level. And learning strategy is low, LD management is not very, is a little bit high, but learning interventions is really too low. And this was really surprise. And here I thought I have, and we with the team have much work to do for learning organization creation and for knowledge management. Yes. Too often people think of knowledge management as a noun. I have found this and I really like this note, but it's not a noun. Knowledge management is a verb and a way of getting work done. Jeff Angus, who is a sportive coach, mentioned this, and this I really liked. And I started to put into practice all the knowledge that I gained at the seminar in March, and I read many papers. So the questions I have prepared for our management, what is our knowledge management vision? How should managers be involved in knowledge management process? And should knowledge management be linked to the KPIs? Yes, and to the answer to this third question is that from January 1st, we are going to link our learning with KPIs at the bank, and we are going to measure and evaluate learning process at the bank. We started to overcome knowledge sharing challenges. We started to involve management into process. And here I would like to accentuate on encouraging leaders to walk the talk, be engaged and lead by examples. We started some breakfast and with our governor of the CBA, and every month there is one department who meets with the governor and they have a breakfast and they discuss some ideas. This is one thing that we started to implement, and communicating about the ideas and building safe space to trust one another and grow as individuals. And this kind of meetings really help us till now. Yes, leaders have a great impact on creating or ruining knowledge management, and we really agree with this idea. We started to have coffee and people meetings and conveying leaders about their knowledge sharing vision. Sometimes we have a small meetings and we convey about their roles and engagement. Sometimes, yes, they are involved, but they don't know their real roles in this. And we consider all CBA members as knowledge providers and ask them to come up with new ideas. We are going to start, the first one is at the end of this month, storytelling sessions, but we are going to accentuate on CBA values. Everyone is going to tell some story connected with some values of the central bank, and at the first meeting, I'm going to be the moderator. From January, we are going to have to invest LMS, learning management system, and equip classrooms with modern devices and promote flexible, agile work environment. And we are going to reward knowledge sharing behavior. First, we will reward and maybe then we will stop doing it. We are going to reward with bonuses from 5 to 10%, and then we are going, maybe someday we will stop, but now we are going to provide them bonuses for knowledge sharing ideas. So regarding to capturing, validating, formatting, disseminating, maintaining processes, we are going, and we have started to do knowledge sharing sessions, and every department will have a day. For example, our audit department will have on the last Friday of each month to have knowledge sharing sessions. And they will have 1 hour, and during 1 hour they will share some books they have read, they will share about some ideas they have participated during the seminars, and they will do some knowledge sharing. They will have an hour to share this knowledge for every department. Yes, we will do validation, we will do knowledge content, will be refine the content. And for knowledge sharing sessions, yes, and we are going to implement it with the departments, and one department each month will do sharing session, and they will, whole department ideas will be shared with the whole bank. And we are going to have internal catalog of, we will include knowledge owners, creators in the catalog, and we are going to implement trainings. Regarding to explicit knowledge sharing, we are going to have LMS, internal training catalog, electronic libraries that we have. We involve all the books that we read and can be interesting for the others. Knowledge repository we have. We put in this repository all the training materials that our employees take part in different countries, and they bring, and we keep it in our knowledge repository. And we do lessons learned, and we also keep video materials in for sharing explicit. For implicit knowledge sharing, we do mentoring sessions. I would like to accentuate this because there was a question. So we have sent an email to all the employees who would like to be mentored in the company, but only employees who have 5 and more years of experience in the Central Bank of Armenia. We gather all, we refined, and according to our structure that we would like them to have. And now we use mentoring programs for newcomers. After onboarding process, we ask them if you would like to have mentor or not, we do it. But as a whole, we are going to convey all the employees and tell that there are mentors. There are chosen mentors in the bank, and if you would like them to have as your mentors, you may write us, and we will try to happen mentorship sometimes it's very difficult because there should be also some appealing of employee and the mentor. So we are trying to choose appropriate mentors for each employee. For implicit, we have internal trainings, presentations after each external training, monthly knowledge sharing. We have English clubs every month, 2 times a month. We have English clubs, we have storytelling sessions, and we have also town halls conducted by the central bank governor. And we go to we have a diligent research training and research center, and we have town halls conducted by the governor of the central bank. Regarding to communication, we have internal LD mail. Every Wednesday, I send to our employees some ideas about training, some events, courses, learning opportunities that happened during the previous week and are going to happen in the coming weeks. Storytelling, where yes, we accentuate on our values, and newsletters we send to our employees, and we include also some learning events and also some certificates that our employees gained from other institutions. And there is one important thing that we have thought about benefits and expectations of this program. And one of the most important benefit that we think it will have an impact is elimination of silos. During 2 years, we have found out that we have some silos in the bank, some groups that they don't come to meetings. Sometimes they have lunch only together. They don't share some ideas with the others. And so we hope that with the help of knowledge management and sharing events, we will eliminate silos in the bank. We will improve communication, we will do rapid access to information, and we will improve employee productivity. Regarding to innovation, yes, knowledge creation is important, collaboration of new ideas, and access to expert knowledge. Yes, as it was conveyed that experts, we need to have access to our experts' knowledge because some employees are retiring and there is a need to manage the knowledge that they bear. So that is why we started to have an access to expert knowledge and mainly to older employees. And during 2 years, we have in our culture that failure sometimes is good in our organization, and fail soon, fail again. This has been a culture when I was thinking about culture, when I took a step back and step forward. So I came to this, yes, that in our organization now failure is good, and we transfer failure into learning. Because when failure is bad, people think that good people never fail. Failure is shameful. Failure should be prevented. But I have found out that in our organization, we came to a mindset that failure is part of our work. Good people learn and share from failure. Why not? And it's essential for growth. And so now we have this culture, and this culture really helps. And I really hope that when I start mapping organizational learning maturity, maybe in 3 months period or 6 months period, we will have not structured level maturity, but we will have strategic at least, because we are doing lots of actions for this. And at the Central Bank of Armenia, many channels suit for knowledge sharing so that it increases the chance that the knowledge will reach more and more people, and we will become better and better in our performance every day. And thank you again. With this, I would like to stop my presentation, and if you have any questions, really, I will be happy to answer to them.
Many thanks, Anahit. I hope you saw the reactions in between, because people and we all were really inspired by your presentation. Very much thank you. I saw Zvitka is raising the hand. Zvitka, would you like to ask something, or was it?
No, it was a mistake. I was so impressed. Okay. I wanted to clap.
Thank you.
You see?
Thank you.
Yeah, and actually in between there were quite a few comments, also questions. I
Yes.
have to scroll a bit up, but I would start with Alexandru. So his question is, what tool did you use for mapping learning culture?
While I was gaining my certificate in AI HR, so I took these mapping tools, dimensions, questions that would be fit for mapping organizational learning maturity. So I have gathered all these questions and I have chosen some people in the bank and I have tried to ask them questions, and we do some little bit research. It was not a research as a whole, but with the help of these 13 dimensions and into 3 categories that were involved, we started mapping, yes, organizational maturity. And unfortunately for me, to my surprise, it was structured learning maturity. But yes, we are working to reach higher levels in the bank.
Thank you. And then Svetlana commented that you really succeeded in motivating colleagues.
Oh,
Was it like
thank you.
difficult, or did you have any challenge there?
Yes, lots of challenge, because sometimes the most difficult challenge was involving management into this process, because they are very busy with different challenges and they say, yes, learning happens because we have a big learning budget and learning happens all the time. But to my surprise, it was not structured. It was structured but not linked with the strategy and embedded learning. But so it was difficult to involve and engage managers in the process, but we have started. We have started and hope that soon we will be more and more successful with learning organization.
Thank you, Anna. And then we have a question from Simon. So in regards to the sent emails for mentorship programs, in your opinion, how would you comment on the response? How many percentages of your colleagues responded to this initiative?
To our surprise, about 50%, I can say, responded to this question and to this request. But then we refined the employees, because there were employees who didn't have much expertise in the central bank. There were employees who maybe didn't have any knowledge how to do mentorship. But after choosing some 40% of employees from the ones who applied for this procedure, I have organized a mentorship seminar for them. And then it was not that we had certified mentors in the bank, but we have employees who passed and participated in a seminar and who became professional in provided mentorship. So lots of employees are ready, but after 6 months, I tried to again ask them what is the process and so on. I would say that the motivation of the mentors declined, and they met with their mentees just once or twice. Now we are thinking of some, I don't know, benefits, maybe again rewarding mentors for the first period, so they become mentors again and they do it more efficiently. So maybe this.
Thank you. And Robert has the question of over what period did you make this amazing transition?
If I tell that we had, I would like, thank you for the question. And so regarding to mentorship programs, we have started about 2 years, and mentoring and mentors and so on. But regarding to learning maturity and knowledge management, we were very efficient and excellent in learnings in the bank. But after, really, thank you so much to all the professors and experts I met in March, and you, Ida, for giving me this opportunity. After this seminar, I really tried to dive into deeper and deeper, because I looked at this from professional point of view. And I didn't look at it as something very precious thing. And so after the seminar, I came and I started my certificate program in AIHR. I read many books, I read many papers, and started mapping our organization, because sometimes learning is a process that we need to take both a step back, step in, step back and step in. And so with all these processes, we are on the process. There are some events that I have written all this concept, which is approved by the governor, and we probably from January, some events we have started, some procedures, but the others will be from 1st of January, because it's approved and we are on the process of doing this. So it took just about 7 or 8 months, not more.
Yeah, amazing. I said, I put in the comment the event, and after that, because actually this was the event, the opportunity that we meet, because we didn't know each other from the past, and I'm really amazed about your motivation, inspiration, really congratulations. And I would really like to reflect that I see that you're thinking not just this traditional knowledge management framework of capturing knowledge and packaging, but also like the communication, the support of the leadership, the resources that are needed. So really, really good work, and we will stay in touch for sure. So don't go away.
Sure. Yeah, no. I am here. And yesterday I had again knowledge management event in Armenia, and I had a speech about learning. So I am going deeper and deeper, diving deeper into knowledge management, because it's in our DNA to learn and to become better. So we need to spread and try to develop in this. Yeah. Thank you again.
Any final question, like from the audience, like without chat, to break a bit me speaking and Anna? No, then we will have a few minutes at the end, I'm sure.
Okay.
So yeah, Kai as well shared. So you are true change agent, Anahit. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And now we will go actually to the next presentation from Svetlana Laushevich. She joined SAFE Secretariat team this autumn, so we are really glad. Actually, Svetlana, we met in March at the same event. There you were a participant, and you actually started to initiate the project that you will present now. But just like a few words for the rest of the group. So Svetlana is based in Podgorica, Montenegro, and she's the project manager and team leader for the EU-funded CF Action, support to coordination, monitoring and reporting on public administration reform strategy and public financial management reform program since 2022-2026. Otherwise, she has very rich experiences in different projects, more than 13 years of successful implementation of numerous actions in the fields of good governance, democratization, digitalization, media, and civil society. So this in short, but now Svetlana, I give you the word to you.
Thank you so much, and hello to everyone. And Ida, I have to say that I believe that after this, you have to be proud of yourself, definitely, because you were the catalyst of me being there in March, Anahit being there in March, but also Simon giving the presentation for us in March. So it all started, you see, actually from your excellent work. So, and now we are developing. So Ida, thank you also for that. So I will now share my slides, and actually I will kind of try to shorten it a bit, because I would really like to put some extra time and have some extra time basically for any kind of additional discussions. I think it's very important also to have these. Okay, so my slides went crazy apparently, but it's okay. That's okay. Let me see. I will do it again just to have everything basically on track. Hope you can see them. Yeah, okay.
Yes, just make it bigger, like a print.
Yes, absolutely. Let me see.
Thank you. We see it.
Okay, good. So if I just actually, as I'd already introduced, I'm doing actually I'm a team leader for a project in Montenegro, which is about support to coordination, monitoring, and reporting the public administration reform and public finance management reform. So basically, what is it about? The project is about helping the team who is coordinating, monitoring, and reporting on these two strategies to enhance their knowledge and to build their skills needed for even better performance in their work. So we are here actually trying to increase their performance, and in order to impact the strategic actions that they're implementing in Montenegro through learning, which is within this project is going to be a bit more different than what these two groups are actually used to. So we will, through learning together, jointly as a team and from each other, and through the knowledge exchange, try to build them professionally, try to build the team itself, which will lead to the better performance of their organizations. I'm saying that we will do the things differently because in Montenegro, but surely also likewise in the Balkans and even further, people are used to the classical technical assistance projects, which are happening all over, especially when the donor is EU or any other organization. And these typical technical assistance projects are actually allowing you to have the experts to help you with your work, to help you with your learning initiatives, to help you with presenting different outcomes and developing different outcomes. And all these results are then stored in the reports and so on. So we are doing the things a little bit different, and we are stepping away from this classical technical assistance approach in Montenegro. So what we are doing is that we are taking the fully participatory approach into every learning initiative, actually every learning journey that we are going to have throughout this project. So we are bringing people into the development of any learning journey that they will have in the next 3-year period and making them the owners of the systems itself. So within the project itself, we will have a different, and you can see it here, we will have a different learning and knowledge sharing focuses. And these focuses will obviously, first of all, depend on their needs. So we will have basically different learning journeys that they will be able to choose from or prioritize from. So they will be able to choose and say, this is important, this is what we need to be part of the learning journey in the area of leadership, to be part of the learning journey in the area of learning and knowledge sharing. And this is exactly what we would preach for, to dive in deeper in the knowledge management mechanisms and the steps, like Anna already explained us what they did in the central bank, but we are here actually only at the start of it. The teams in the both ministries, Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Public Administration, which is who are the beneficiaries of the projects, are only the start. They haven't transitioned, nor they have started the transition of taking the learning initiatives, understanding the knowledge management, and doing what is needed in order to move forward this path of becoming the learning organization. So we're only here at the start, and hopefully maybe in 3 years, I will be, or any part of the team will be able to present something similar at the time it was presenting, that we are really making this change, but surely we will try to do it. So we will also focus on the training of trainers, methods during all these sessions. We will focus on storytelling. We will focus on also professional coaching and all methods needed in order to actually help them understand that the learning and knowledge sharing is what is needed also for them to progress. And already yesterday, actually, we were kind of, I was kind of talking with different colleagues from TEF, and what we also understand is that we are within this project actually trying to support and actually facilitate the knowledge and the skills of the individual. We're also going to share and offer knowledge and skills improvement of the team itself, but also looking into the boosting the capacity of organization. So we are having a 3-step approach in this learning journey in order to make the change happen. So all.cef is, and this is what also Robert, our colleague, pointed out, also all.cef and other organizations have maybe focused more on the individual professionalization of the skills and knowledge of the person, and the learning organizations, somehow this in between, like learning of the team, knowledge sharing of the team, wasn't so much in the focus before, but surely within this project, we will bring it back to shine. So we will have, as I already said, this participatory approach and this even maybe experimental approach to learning, because we are also here into something new. So for us, for the entire team, it's very important to understand and keep pace with the learning needs, because each individual, each team, each organization has a different capacity, first of all, to start with, but also the different approach needed in order to progress and different results to be reached. We would definitely ensure that the learner is in the heart of the learning process, because this is what matters. If we make people who are to bring the change, who are to develop themselves, to be a heart of this process and not just a passive listener, then we are making the change. Then we are having this learning, experimental or even approach to learning. We are promoting the use of the wide range of learning methods and tools, and it's very important for them to be kind of personalized to the extent possible, to also be flexible, and also engage them in all the learning initiatives. So to maximize this basically interaction with the implementer team, but also in between each other. So because to collect the experience, first of all, that they are having, and then to bring it also to life. We already now at the inception period, because we are still in the inception period of this project, we actually have understood that they are having a lot of experience, and they're actually even doing a lot of things which are participatory, which are even part of the knowledge management, let's say, concept, but they are not aware of it. So we also need to bring to life, or bring to to actually make them understand that they're doing a lot, which is already planned, but just to make them understand that this is that part of the learning journey, or that part of the management mechanism, and so on. So they just need to be more aware of the excellent work also that they are doing. We will also showcasing the given and newly gained skill and knowledge of everybody, how they can benefit personally of them, how their teams are going to benefit of this change to happen, and how all this knowledge can be later on used in the institution. Because the two teams who are coordinating and doing the coordination and monitoring of the strategic framework in their respective institutions are also later on going to be a kind of trainer of trainers. So we're going to train them to also help other colleagues or facilitate the learning management tools or knowledge sharing or any kind of different actions to other colleagues in their institutions. But not only in their institutions, we're also hoping that we'll go outside of these so-called boxes, but not really, also to showcase to other institutions who are ready and encouraged by their stories. As I already said, all kind of technical assistance, within this technical assistance, there will be also peer-to-peer learning initiatives, technical guidance, on-the-job training, and coaching that I already talked about. And then, sorry, as I already talked about the learning journeys and the different methods that are going to be actually used here, it's very important to also understand that while building it, we're also building ourselves. So I'm always saying, and even now with the group, with the two groups and all the employees of the two ministries, that while we're showcasing, while we are sharing best practices, while we are having different experts with different knowledge on board to help, we will also learn from them. So the learning initiative is both obviously focused for the team, but also is going to be very beneficial for us who are implementing this from the start. We are going to incorporate different elements in this initiative. We're going to promote knowledge exchange and deepening, as I already said, not only within the institution, but outside of the institution as well. And very importantly, we are going to make them visible. The work that they are doing, the knowledge they are having, the learning journeys that they are going to be a part of it, and all the experience and the work that had been done previously, until now haven't been shown. So it wasn't visible. Also the good work, but maybe also the bad things, but which, or the failure that what Anna had already said, on which they have learned a lot and even growth a lot. So we will also help them showcase these good practices, showcase how they're using this new knowledge into their work in order to gain even more attraction even from other colleagues and other institutions. And obviously, we will promote regularly the feedback loops and adapting for the future action, because each year will bring definitely a new priorities, a new learning journeys, and new future actions that are going to be implemented throughout the project. So in all, we are really hoping, as I already said, to be able in not definitely 7 or 8 months, like Anahit did, a change in their working culture, but probably hoping in a year or two, or towards the end of the project, to be really able to showcase how and what we changed. And I really just wanted to express that here I explained that basically the project will focus on these essential aspects of personal and professional goal, and actually has this power of transforming individuals, teams, and organizations. And we are really here in this era of very rapid technological and digital advancement, and we're all in this really a constant change. And it's very important to recognize or to be able to develop the ability to adapt and to actually acquire new skills, because this is definitely not the choice anymore. It's becoming really a necessity. And this concept of learning journeys is actually emphasizing that the learning is not a one-time event. So it's an ongoing process, and it's actually a journey that will embark on the acquire to the new knowledge and skills throughout our professional lives, but also our lives in general. So it's important here to understand that these learning journeys encompass a broader perspective on education and personal development. So it's like the knowledge that learning doesn't only happen in the classroom. So it's not something that we are educated towards, but it also throughout the formal learning on the workplace, but it's also the overall learning throughout life. So it's not only that we have learned and then we stop learning in the classroom and we learn and we stop learning in our working place, but it's all over the place and it can happen all the time and anywhere. So with these learning journeys, we are really going to try actually to encourage the two ministries to embrace this growing mindset, to seek for opportunities to actually or prioritize the needs for the new skills and knowledge they actually need in their work. It's also in these public institutions, I believe it's also crucial to kind of create an environment and support these learning journeys. In the two institutions that we are working, I cannot say at this moment that this was the case. For example, in Anahit's institution, is definitely the case. So there is already a created environment that will support a learning journey. And this is the basics that we need in order to grow, but also in order to help the colleagues in the two ministries. We definitely can do this by providing resources, mentorship programs, opportunities for this skill development, and this is definitely needed in order to even grow more. For example, what also Anafi said, they also recognized and they rewarded those who are actively contributing to the learning, to the knowledge sharing and reinforcing the culture of this continuous learning. I will definitely finish by this saying that the learning journey is definitely more than just acquiring skills. It's definitely a way of life, and I think they already wrote that in the chat. And they really kind of foster this mindset of curiosity, let's say, and the belief that we can also really become always a better version of ourselves. So I'm wishing myself, but also the team itself, that we will succeed in this throughout the project that we are implementing, but also believing that we all, if we are a kind of team up, definitely can bring this change. So thank you, and thank you, Aida, again for organizing such an event. So if there are any kind of question, we'll be more than happy to answer.
Thank you, Svetlana. So you actually came back to Simon's presentation where he talked about lifelong learning.
Yes.
And the importance of capturing the tacit knowledge, which is the hardest part. We have more than 5 minutes. Let's now hear from you, dear colleagues. Do you have any questions and observations? It's also time for reflection, so please. Anna, would you like to go? I see you unmuted yourself.
I am still thinking. Maybe later.
Okay. Any other? What maybe after these 3 presentations comes to your mind? How would you, in your thoughts or with your words, conclude or maybe summarize? What is your takeaway from today?
Robert, yes, I would like.
Yeah, Anna, please.
Sorry. Yes, I would like, to accentuate once again that knowledge management is really a great ocean that we need to dive further and further, deeper and deeper, and be involved in it. And yes, all the time we need to take both a step back and step in, and every time to map our learning organization maturity, and even to measure, to map knowledge management maturity that we have in our organizations. And with this, all the time, think all the time, what are some news? And for this, Simon, so much, because thank you so much, because aging in knowledge management was vital. And I would like to read about it more and more, and maybe next time to have some ideas from this research. And so thank you once again. And this is again one step forward that we need to dive deeper and deeper into this area. Thank you.
Thank you, Svetlana. Very deep reflections. Robert, please, and then I give the word to Ruban.
Well, thank you all. There is a lot to take away from these presentations, and they're inspiring in terms of reconfirming we are all on a good journey. What I have as a question on my head is this mapping, what you have been doing, Anahit, with this model of structured, strategic, embedded. We need to have more understanding of how such mapping can be done, so we more know what is the starting point, and we can convey some of the results that we achieve over so much detailed work, understanding people, working with people. Now for this project that Svetlana mentioned, where we go on a, let's say, teams level, how could one capture what is the starting point of a team in terms of their learning culture, their elementary forms of knowledge management? So if anybody of you has seen such assessment on the teams level, or Anahit, if you would say like, well, we can apply it actually to a teams level, this model that you use, that I would find very helpful in current thinking. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the question and for the inquiry. Maybe because I have started from mapping our organizational culture, and after that I came to mapping learning maturity. So I started with mapping cultures and whether we are centralized or regionalized, and whether what is our budget. So different questions I have elaborated for this mapping, and different questions for structured, for embedded, and for strategic ones. And after getting the answers from the employee, after doing this research, so we came to the scores where we are higher and where we are lower. But maybe because we are really short in time, so maybe in future we can have a little bit prolonged one and about more accentuate on the topic. And I am ready to share knowledge from start to the end. So I am ready whenever it will be possible.
Thank you, Anna. We are in touch for the date.
Yes, my pleasure. Yes.
Yeah, thank you for my reminding to be mindful of the time. So yeah, Ruban, please, can we hear you?
Yeah, thank you. First, sorry, and I apologize for joining the meeting a bit late, and sorry that I missed Simon's presentation. From what I heard, I liked it very much, and I think there was so much material and so much to be shared. And as a comment was made that knowledge sharing is a universe, and of course there are so many tools and different practices. What I would focus on from my experience are the practices that are a little bit more informal than formal. And some of them were mentioned in your presentations, like storytelling or peer-to-peer learning, provided I would say it is guided, and things like that. Because sometimes we start from the wrong assumption that we need to do it because in our institutions there is a deficit of knowledge, but there is not. What there is a deficit of is to stimulate and shake our brain to be able to ask the difficult questions and to express the things we are struggling with, and to find a way and a space and a structure to deal with that would be, in the context of knowledge management and knowledge sharing, in my view, be very beneficial as well.
Yes, many thanks, Ruban. Any comments on that from colleagues? I completely can relate. Svetlana, please.
Exactly what you said. I completely can relate. The issue is that not only us working with public institutions and those employed in public institutions are sometimes kind of prejudicial towards what they need and what they know and what their skills they're missing. And we are very much sometimes making a film in this. There is a lot of energy, first of all. There is a lot of knowledge. There is a lot of skills in the institutions. They're just not visible or they're just not used. Our role, I mean, I'm talking now for myself also. My role will be to actually bring this up. So to put on the surface actually all this knowledge, exactly using this maybe a little bit unorthodox approaches that are not theoretical or book related or study related, but that are actually also the approaches which are you're going to choose just on based on the way on how this organization is actually working or is implementing their ideas and so on. So you're going to be very adaptive throughout the work with them, but also to allow them to express what they know, how they know it, and in the way they implement it. I believe that this is very, very important to allow people expressing their skills and knowledge, and actually together with them jointly make them understand that they have it in their self, but they're maybe just not confident enough or transparent enough about it. But it's in the most cases there.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And I remember, and that's why I also wanted to have this session like a combination of research, HR, and also like project, what can be done with projects on this topic, because many things we are taking also from Simon and his colleagues, because they did one research that proved that in good and for successful knowledge management and knowledge sharing, you need to have both. So more like formal ways of sharing, but also more like informal. I remember, Simon, this research from of Sasha's on organic versus structured learning and how this contributes. Maybe just if you give like final words, if you have something to share here, and yeah, then we will need to conclude. Simon. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you again for the invitation and for everything. I think it's really interesting every time that you hear a lot of different perspectives in regards to knowledge management. And I would say that I'm really happy that we have in Slovenia or in the region, you as a coordinator or facilitator that tries to bring everything together. And I think that this gives us an excellent opportunity to progress even more in the future. And so basically just thank you, and I hope to see as many of you again in the future.
Thank you, Simon. So for the end, we don't have time for more comments, but I would ask you if you can write in the chat your takeaway from today. Peter Drucker in the previous century started with this term of knowledge worker and knowledge management and so forth. And yesterday I joined one of these discussions, who is a knowledge worker? And I would definitely say that all we here in this session today are knowledge worker. And here I don't relate only to what we do as professionals, but also really as people, as human beings. I would really like to thank you, each one of you, for coming today, for really interesting discussion, the presentation, Simon, Anna, Svetlana, thank you very much. All the colleagues for comments. So please put in the chat your main takeaway, and thank you. And hopefully we see soon in the same or some similar setting to share knowledge. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Ida, for everything.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
And I will wait for your comments.
Super.